Welcome on board. Thanks a lot for attending this webinar. My name is Aamir Qutub, and I'll talk to you about a bit more. But before I get started, there's one thing that I would like to clarify. So in this session, at the end of this session, there would be two type of people that we will have. So everyone would get something out of it, but there would be some people who would actually take an action today and it was going to transform their lives forever. And there would be second type of people who would probably get motivated for some time, but then go away. And this session will not have benefit for them because they would be just consuming the information, getting something out of it, but then they will leave and they won't be benefited by this session itself. Because any session whatsoever, it's not actually about just learning, but it's also about taking the actions itself. So I'm pretty sure, like out of the 150, 200 people who have joined this session, there would be some who would take action straight away and will be benefited by this. And this session, like this 1 hour, will transform their lives forever. I've done this with people, so I've sort of understand that there has been some people who have taken the action, and it has transformed their lives forever. But then there would be some people who would consume this information and say, "Oh yeah, he spoke very well. He did everything right," but they won't be able to get any benefit out of it. So now you have to decide which part of the group you want to be in. Do you want to be in the type of people who would actually get benefit out of it and it will transform their lives? Because my objective here is to convey something to you, convey my learnings to you, but then it is up to you to take action. So think about it and decide, because at the end of my session, I'm going to ask you to take some actions. And you have to sort of put yourself in a bit of pain and take some actions, but that will actually decide whether you would be in those who would get benefit out of this or who would transform their lives forever, or you would be among those who wouldn't have any effect through this particular webinar, particular session. So to get started, I'll just give you a bit of brief about myself. So I am the CEO and founder of a multinational company called Enterprise Monkey. But apart from that, I've established 3 successful businesses. I currently live in Australia. I live in Geelong, which is a sister city to Melbourne. So my office is in Melbourne, Sydney, Geelong, and I travel pretty often in Australia. But I've got offices in 4 other countries as well. So I've got office in Dubai, Malaysia. We've got office in New Delhi as well, and we are planning a new office in Singapore. So I've established 3 successful businesses, but apart from that, I have invested in 8 technology startups so far. So I am a technical investor. So I actually invest in different startups, which are valued at around $30 million. Now my age is 30 now. Actually, it's 31 now. And so I'm still pretty young. So I completed my graduation, around 8 or 9 years ago. When I was in India, I did my bachelor's in technology from mechanical engineering. And that was from Aligarh Muslim University in Aligarh. And then I have sort of moved to a completely different field. And I'll talk to you about my story as we sort of move forward in this discussion. So some of the pictures that you can see on your screen, the first one is when Australian government selected me and appointed me for a sports tech trade mission to India. And that was a pretty proud moment for me because of the work that I actually had done for Australian government. They appointed me to represent Australian sports technology industry in India. So I got the opportunity to work with the IPL teams, the Board of Cricket Control of India, and so on as well. I've worked pretty closely with some of the Australian cricket players, some of the companies that work for Cricket Australia as well. The second photo that you see over here, this guy is Steve Wozniak. He is the co-founder of Apple. So he was the brain behind the first personal computer. And then Steve Jobs actually took his idea and then sold it. So there were 2 partners in Apple, Steve Wozniak and Steve Jobs. So I first met Steve Wozniak when I actually invited him to Australia to speak in a conference that I organized. But then I got the opportunity to work with him to invest in some of the startups that he had invested in as well. The next one is an award. So I have been awarded Young Entrepreneur of the Year. Last year, I was finalist as Young Business Leader of the Year 3 consecutive times. And my company has been awarded the Smartest Innovation of the Year for 2 consecutive times, and the best organization in the creative industry. Uh, what else? Apart from that, I have been appointed by the Minister for Planning Minister, on the board of Geelong Authority, which is a ministerial advisory committee. So one of my role is that I'm among the 5 members who advise Minister for Planning on the planning issues, on the development of the region, and and creation of things like smart cities and so on. So that's a bit about me. And the reason I'm telling you all this is because I was able to achieve all of this when I started from Aligarh, which is a small town in India. I come from a very middle class family in India, in Uttar Pradesh. And my father always wanted me to be in a government job, because my father had been in a government job for his whole life. My mother was a housewife. We didn't have uh, anyone in my whole family who was in entrepreneurship. So like business or entrepreneurship was looked down upon. And my father always used to tell me, business is bad, and it's very risky and things like that. But I was able to achieve and travel so much of distance just because I was able to influence and utilize my subconscious mind. And that's why this topic is pretty important and pretty close to me. I was never a very bright or brilliant student, so I used to sit at the backbench of my class as well. My marks were not great as well, and my teachers were not happy with me as well. So I was a very average student who struggled to pass. I used to pass my examination somehow, and I had no interest in studying. But just with the power of being able to influence my subconscious and learning through the failures, I was able to achieve this in a short time. So before I sort of proceed further, and I think the very first thing that would be fair to say, now I don't want to go into a lot of theory, and I'm not a psychologist, right? I will tell you about my experiences, my journey, and how I actually influenced and maintained the balance between my conscious and subconscious. But you must be thinking, what the hell is this conscious and subconscious? What does it even mean? What does it even refers to? So you don't need to go very deep. The very simple example that I've given over here is that your mind has 2 components, not your brain, but your mind. Like the way you think, there are 2 ways you think, or there are 2 ways your mind acts. One is consciously. So consciously meaning that you know that you are making those decisions. For example, if I'm speaking consciously right now. If I am picking this phone up, I'm doing this consciously. But there are other things that we do in our lives that are subconscious. What are those? I'll come to that. But what you see in this is an iceberg. So your conscious mind is just that tip of the iceberg, which is like only 10% of your mind. But the 90% of the operations are actually performed by your subconscious. And the thing is that we have control over conscious. We are able to focus on conscious things, but we are not able to focus on subconscious things. Now let me clarify it for you, what this conscious and what this subconscious exactly is. So your conscious mind is the things that you think that you can easily control. For example, whenever you are sensing something, you are smelling something, you are seeing something, you are listening something, you are speaking something, it's actually affecting your conscious mind, and any rational decisions that you make are done by your conscious mind. So for example, if I make a decision to pick up this phone, this is a conscious decision. But there are a lot of things that happen in our mind which are not controlled by us consciously, that happens subconsciously, which are things that includes your habits. For example, that the your thoughts and your perceptions, they are not something that you do consciously, but those are the things that you are doing subconsciously, which means you don't have to think about it. For example, if you know how to ride a cycle, you do not consciously think that I have to put, press one pedal, and another pedal, and so on. If you are driving a car, you are not driving a car consciously, because you know how to drive a car, you know how to sort of balance it. If you're riding a motorcycle, you are doing it subconsciously, because you can do another task by doing that. So a lot of things are actually influenced by your subconscious mind, which includes your emotions, your habits and addictions, and it contains all of your memory, all of the things that you have seen in your life that have built a perception or a view of what happens in your life, and that is actually built by your subconscious mind. Now, to clarify this again, a pretty simple example would be that you might have seen, there are people who were from slums, right? So they never saw a lot of money in their lives, and they've always seen struggle in their lives. So that forms a part of their subconscious environment. Similarly, there are these celebrity kids, right, who have never seen they've always seen abundance in their life. They have never seen what being a poor is like. And so for them, their subconscious is actually trained like that only, and whenever they would approach a thing, they would approach the thing from their sort of subconscious perspective. Now, why is it important for us to learn about or understand about subconscious mind? Because it is a differentiation factor between our success and failure. So what happens is that when we are growing up, a child is crawling and he tries to stand up on his feet. So when a child tries to stand up on his feet, what happens is that whenever he tries to stand up on his feet, he falls down, you know. And then does he gives up? No, he doesn't give up. He tries again and then he falls down again. Does he give up? No. He keeps on trying until and unless he fails, because his subconscious has not developed a fear of falling or a fear of failure yet. But what happens is when we grow up, our parents, our society, our teachers in teach us to start fearing from the failures, because failures are looked down upon as something really bad. Failures are being discouraged in our schools, failures are being discouraged in our classes, failures are being discouraged, and we are afraid of falling. And something that society instills us is compromising with a lot of situations. So what happens is that our subconscious mind is set in such a way that we start compromising with each and everything in our life. So, and that inhibits our process towards success. So we want to achieve something, we want to achieve something huge, and we know that this is the right way. But because our subconscious is trained in such a way by the society, by the influence, and by everything, that it's difficult to sort of follow your dreams. There's a lack of jobs. What happens if you fail? What about security? All of these things prevent you from achieving those things. Again, a simple example, there are people who want to go on a diet, and they feel like that they will go on a diet. So they are making a rational decision consciously that they want to go on a diet, but their subconscious mind actually prevents them from going on a particular diet. That's why, and you would have experienced this thing, as you would decide that, okay, this is the thing that I want to do, but you are not able to do that. You are not able to do that. It's because your subconscious is not trained to do that, and so your subconscious stops you from doing that. So what happened was that when I went to my BTech, so first of all, I was in a PCB. So I had like bio as the main. My father wanted me to be a doctor because in India, every parent wants their kids to be a doctor. But I had additional mathematics. Somehow, fortunately, I got my admission in bachelor's in technology. I didn't know which field to go in anyway, so I took admission in mechanical engineering. When I started studying, I couldn't understand what am I studying, why am I studying mechanical engineering, how is it this going to help me in achieving something. And that's why I stopped attending the classes. When I stopped attending the classes, I used to go to the class, but then didn't used to study a lot. I started, my marks went down, and then everyone started looking down upon me. So my classmates used to look down upon me as like non-serious guy. My teachers looked down upon me, and I still remember the incident when my teacher actually asked me to stand up and said that you won't be able to do anything in your life because you are not good with your studies. And at that point of time, my parents were not happy with me seeing my marks. So because all of these people had this influence on me, that if I am not able to get good marks, if I'm not able to concentrate in studies, I won't be able to do anything in my life. It started inhibiting my thoughts. So I wanted to study, or I wanted to try one thing or another consciously, but my subconscious mind told me that I was not good enough. And that's where my journey starts about exploring myself. And when I used to look at other people were doing good. When I used to look at YouTube, used to look at TED Talks and whatever, there were people who were really successful. And I used to think maybe I'm not worth it, because everyone has told me that I'm not worth it. And only if you get good marks, then you are worth it. Maybe I'm not worth it, because my subconscious was actually telling me that. So what happened one day is that when I went to my second year, there was an college fest that was actually organized, and I did not participate in the college fest for the first 2 days, because I thought, I'm not good enough. I won't be, if I'm not able to do studies, I won't be able to do anything. It's all wrong. But my friend somehow forced me to participate in one event, and I actually won second prize in that event. And that changed my perspective about myself. And I thought maybe I can do something with my life. And then I participated in another event. I won another prize in that event. And in that college fest, I actually won 3 prizes. And when I was called on the stage to actually take the award, the same teacher who told me that you won't be able to do anything in my life was the one who was actually giving me the award. And then I thought, it occurred to me at that point of time that this is the person who told me that you won't be able to do anything in your life. This is the person who is giving me the award. Maybe this person doesn't know everything. Okay, that's fine, he's my teacher, but maybe he doesn't know everything about life. Maybe he doesn't know everything about me. Maybe the people who say that I won't be able to achieve anything in life, maybe that's wrong. So that was the very first doubt that came in my mind. And this is the doubt that allows you to challenge your subconscious, allows you to challenge the status quo. So the very first thing that we need to look at this point of time over here is, and I'll tell you my full story, is maybe what is being told to you so far about success, about failures, about everything in life, maybe most of it is not true. Maybe the people who are telling you are suckers themselves, and they don't have it figured out. Maybe the education system that you are studying in is not correct. So these are the questions. Once you start asking those questions consciously, then what you can do is you can start to shake your subconscious mind. And I'll come to that in detail pretty soon. So the question is, how do you program your subconscious mind? So for example, I'll give you an example. So right now you must be in your graduation, or you must have completed your graduation, and you want to achieve something big in your life. You might have a goal, right? So someone wants to earn $1 million, someone wants to be a CEO of a company. And think about what's that one thing that you want to achieve in life. Maybe you want to pursue your career in arts or design or music, or maybe you want to be a successful entrepreneur, maybe you want to be a great engineer, maybe you want to be the dean or the vice chancellor of university. So we have got all of these dreams and goals, but at the same time we have got this mind in our subconscious that always telling us that maybe what we are thinking is not possible, maybe I'm not worth it. These are called limiting beliefs, and this is what we have to fight for, and this is why we need to reprogram our subconscious mind. So what happens is, the very first thing that you need to know is that your subconscious is always learning. But right now you must be in your 20s, someone would be in 18 years old, like you would be 18 to 24 or 25 years old. So you would have something that has been feeded in your program subconsciously for last 10 years or 15 years. So now we actually have to fight that if we have to set up our mindset for success. So this is what we are going to talk about. But the good thing is that you have the power to actually reprogram your subconscious. And the very first realization that you should have is that no matter who you are, where you are, even if you are born in a poor family, even if your English is bad, even if you suck at studies, even if your confidence level is low, even if you are introvert, even if you are a girl, even if you are a belong to a very poor socioeconomic background, doesn't matter at all. No matter wherever you are in your life, you can actually reprogram your subconscious and achieve whatever you want in your life. And that's the key. How? I'm going to tell you now. The very first thing that you need to do is you actually have to have a conversation with your subconscious. So if your subconscious is telling you that, oh, that's great, you want to become an entrepreneur, or you want to be a CEO, you want to make your career in this thing, or whatever it is, whatever you want to achieve, but your subconscious is telling you not to do it, then you have to start talking to your subconscious. And it's about literally talking to your subconscious. So think about conscious and subconscious as your two main employees. Like, there are two main employees of your company. So there is this conscious guy. Conscious guy is logical. And conscious guy, if you tell him that do this, then he will say, oh yeah, I'll do this. For example, if I'm telling you something, your conscious is right now listening to it and saying, yes, this guy is saying the truth. And if he's saying, and if there are so many examples, then I can do it. That's your logical conscious mind. But what your subconscious mind is doing is, it's not even telling you, but it has all these doubts in mind that will prevent you from actually doing it. So these are two employees in your company, conscious and subconscious. You need both of them, and you need to convince both of them. So what you have to do is you have to actually call the subconscious guy in your office and say, all right, I understand, I appreciate that you feel that I won't be able to do anything in my life, or I won't be able to achieve my goal, or this is something that's limiting, or this is just, or I'm probably afraid of your failures. But you need to understand, or you need to ask your subconscious what I am actually fearful of and what's causing that fear. So if it's a fear of failure, maybe you will find out, maybe your subconscious will actually say that that we are afraid of being failed is because in our society, everyone frowns about failing. And whenever you try something risky, you are actually bound to fail. This is a natural learning process, right? So for example, nowadays, if I talk about, I have established 3 successful businesses. I haven't told you, the truth is that I've actually failed in 15 businesses and I established 3 successful businesses. So I've tried 18 businesses, out of which I have failed in 15. I've succeeded in 3. So it's like rolling a dice. You actually have to take your chances, and you have to fail enough times before you succeed. Secondly, now going ahead with my story, what happened was that after that particular event, I thought in my university there was no way to communicate, like, so that students could communicate. So I thought, how about I create a social network for my university? Because I saw that as a problem, I saw that as an opportunity. But I was from my mechanical engineering, and I didn't know anything about coding, and social network concept was pretty new at that point of time, talking about 10 years ago. Facebook just launched in US. It was not even in India. There used to be a website called Orkut at that point of time. So I thought, how about we create a social network for my university? And you know what people did? They laughed at me. My fellow students, they laughed at me and said, like, you don't even know coding. How could you create your own social network? And that's what my subconscious told me, that you don't know coding. First you have to learn coding, do a course or whatever, and then you have to do that. What about if you further flunk in your examination? What happen if you are not able to score good? How will you get a job or whatever? So all of these thoughts started coming to me. And this is where I started reasoning and started talking to my subconscious. And you know what I said to my subconscious? I said, that's all right, because I'm already failing in my life. I'm not good at studies. I'm sitting at the back bench. I'm taking proxies. I'm not interested. My teachers already told me that you won't be able to do anything with my life. What if I fail? That's all right. How about I give it a try? And the worst thing that could happen to me is that I'll fail. I'm already failing in my life. And then I started thinking about, why am I so afraid of failures? And then I looked back and looked at my elder sisters who never failed, who were toppers, my father who was so much obsessed with good marks, my parents, my teachers, my families, my society who used to ask about, how much marks did your son or daughter got? Sharmaji's daughter got these many marks. So this was the society who was so obsessed with getting good marks or getting successful in whatever you are doing, and failure was frowned upon. But then I started reasoning with my subconscious mind. What if I fail? What worse would happen? The only thing that would happen is that I will be able to learn something and I'll waste some time. That's fine. At least I would not have the regret that I didn't try this thing. So I tried this. I learned coding, and at the same time I actually tried to establish that social network. And in the 4 months with one of my partners, I created a social network. I put it out. It was a huge success. So we had 10,000 students registered in the first week. We had around 28 or 30,000 students registered in 2 weeks. It was a huge blowing success. And that's when I was able to understand is that maybe I do not suck at life this much. Maybe I can achieve something with my life. So what you have to do is you have to look back at your subconscious and identify why. Why are you so afraid of failing? Why are you so afraid of things? Maybe it comes due to the your family values, culture, or maybe because you're just from a middle class family. Maybe it's about the financial issues or whatever it is. So we need to actually find out why. Once we find out why, what we have to do is, again, that subconscious guy said, all right, that's all right. You're thinking about all of these failings and so on. For 1 minute, let's try and change the perspective, and let's suppose that we are able to succeed in whatever we want to do, and let's try and visualize that. So for now, I want you to do this exercise. Again, I told you, if you will just listen to it and will not act, it won't work. If you want to get benefit or fitted out of it, do it right now with me. Close your eyes and visualize that you have already achieved whatever you want to achieve. If you wanted to be the president of India, you wanted to be the best scientist, the entrepreneur, you have actually got that. You are there. Imagine yourself in there and then try to find that feeling. How would you feel at that particular point of time? Try to visualize your success. How does that success look like? And then what you will be able to tell to your subconscious guy is that maybe whatever you are saying is right. Maybe whatever you are saying is right. I might fail or whatever, but there are still chances that I can succeed, because your subconscious would be able to visualize it for the very first time. And then you will start believing in something that you can actually achieve it. So that's what happened after I founded this AMG Live social network. I started believing that might be able to do something with my life. So that's how I actually grew my interest and passion in technology. I was from a mechanical engineering branch, and I didn't have any formal education in technology. But I thought, I was able to pull off something like this. Maybe I'll fail. Maybe what everyone says is right, but there are chances that I might be able to succeed in it, and that will give me a huge satisfaction and happiness in my life. When you close your eyes and think about what you can achieve and put yourself in that position, then you will feel that it's worth it. It's worth taking that risk. And this is where you have this very first conversation with your subconscious, when you are actually able to help him see the other part of it. Once you do that, the next thing is that your subconscious is very I would say very stubborn, right? It's not like your conscious is logical. As soon as am I telling you, you are understanding, but your subconscious has been trained by other people for the 18 years. Now I am giving you this power to actually gain that control yourself, and this is the very first time in your life that you have been able to actually help your subconscious see what you want to be. Now, the second thing is that you have to keep on repeating this to your subconscious, and that's done by affirmations. So now affirmations are multiple. There are verbal affirmations where you actually repeat to your subconscious. For example, if you want to be an entrepreneur, tell him that I am born to be an entrepreneur. So for example, this subconscious is your employee. Whenever you meet him, every time just say, we are born to be an entrepreneur. I'm born to be an entrepreneur. I'm born to be a doctor. I'm born to be an engineer. I'm born to be a successful engineer, and I'll do whatever it takes. So you are constantly feeding your subconscious. Secondly, what happens is we have surrounded ourselves with a lot of failures, with a lot of negative people, right? They are not negative because they are negative people, but their thoughts are not matured, right? Even your parents, your teachers, I'm sorry to say, but they have got very limited and restricted knowledge, right? There are these 10 or 20% people who are successful in the world. I have met with a lot of people, I have talked to them, but their perspective is different, because what they have done is they have mastered their subconscious. So what happens is that you watch one video, but then when you go out, you are surrounded by those negative people and you are sort of listening to them, and that corrupts your subconscious. So what you have to do is you have to start listening to positive things, uh, and that will give you affirmations. The third thing is we have visualized it, we have listened to it, we are repeating it. The next thing is start writing. Make a journal and write the things that you want to do. I was looking at my diary. I should have actually brought my diary. In 2000, like when I actually moved to Australia, 2011, I set a goal for myself. In 2013, I said I want to have one company established. I want to have BMW X1. So I actually had three or four such goals, and I actually saw that diary in 2014 or whatever. So I was not able to achieve all of those things in 2013. But when I actually looked at that diary at the end of 2014 or beginning of 2015, I was able to tick three of those goals. I was not able to achieve all of the goals, but I was able to achieve three of the goals. So for example, I didn't bought a BMW because I like Audi better. So I bought an Audi, and then I sort of sold my Audi, bought a Mercedes. I did not even establish one company. I actually established multiple companies after that as well. But just by writing in my diary, I was able to affirm myself that I could do it. So what happened was, after my bachelor's of technologies completed, I was offered a campus placement in TCS, but I didn't know whether I wanted to do that or not. So I went to Delhi, started looking for jobs. And again, my subconscious came into play, and my society, the pressure society, came into play. The subconscious tells you that if you are from mechanical engineering, find a job in mechanical engineering. Entrepreneurship and business is too risky. So that's what I did. I stopped entrepreneurship. I stopped mechanical engineering, and I stopped entrepreneurship and started looking for jobs in mechanical engineering. I got a job at Honda Cars, and when I got a job at Honda Cars, I took it because my subconscious told me that's pretty difficult. So it's not a very easy path. You can't just sort of like reprogram your subconscious and that's it. And I didn't know about how to reprogram my subconscious completely. So I took that job, and I was pretty miserable at that job. The job was great, everything was good, but I was not able to feel happiness and satisfaction. I felt like suffocating, and that's what happens when you compromise. You might be able to get security, you might be able to make some money, but if you don't follow your interest, you will never ever be able to successful be succeed in your life. Because if you have to succeed, then you can only and only succeed if you are following what you are interested in, if you are following your passion. And tell me the name of one person in the world, bring me one person in the world who can tell me that he succeeded in something that he was not interested in or he was not passionate about. You know why? Because when you are passionate about something, you are willing to give away everything for it, and then you put your best in it. If you're not passionate about it, if you're not interested in it, you will never be able to give your best, and then you will never be able to succeed in that thing. You might be able to be a good average person in that, but that's it. So at the end of when my first year passed, I resigned from my organization. I thought, that's it, I want to start my own business. Because again, what would happen, I might fail, I might sort of have challenges or whatever it is, but that's all right. So I started my freelancing job. Like, I started working as a freelancer, and one of my clients told me it would be good if you come to Australia, there are a lot of clients over here. So I moved to Australia to do my MBA. Like, so gathered some money, took some loan and everything. So gathered some money for the first trimester fees, moved to Australia to do my MBA. But when I moved to Australia, the challenge started over there, because I wanted to establish my own business. I had to clear my examinations, but I needed money for everything over here. I needed money for survival. I needed money to pay my university fees. That was huge. I needed money to start my own business. And the thing was, I could not earn through freelancing, because the money that I was getting through freelancing was good for India, but that was not enough to survive in Australia. And started applying for jobs. I applied for around 180 jobs. I didn't get any. I was a mechanical engineer. I thought I might get a job as a car mechanic. I might get a job in a car showroom. I didn't get any. So finally, I worked as a cleaner at an airport. Literally picked up the trash and throw it in the dustbin. That's what I used to do. But when I worked as a cleaner for 3 months, but because I had to do my university and establish my business during the daytime, so I got another job where I was throwing newspapers in the night. I was a qualified mechanical engineer who had left his job out of his passion, moved to Australia in the chase of a dream career, and I was throwing newspapers. I was picking up the garbage and loading it in the trucks. I was working as a cleaner. So I used to do my university during the first half. Then I used to try and establish my business in the second half. And in the night time, when I used to reach home, I only had 4 hours, because I actually had to go and do my newspaper throwing job in the night. So I used to reach my home at around 11 p.m. and my job used to start at 3 a.m. in the night. So I only had 4 hours, and I had two choices, whether to eat or sleep. Because if I would eat, then half an hour would go and I will have 3.5 hours. So I used to skip my meal, skip my dinner. I used to sleep for 4 hours. Used to wake up, go for a job, throw the newspapers, used to sleep further in the train, whatever, go to my uni. And I did this for 1 year. But you know what? I never felt bad about it, because I knew that I'm doing it to follow my passion. My goal is clear. My friend called me and asked me, "Do you know what you are doing? What you are doing with your life?" My relatives asked me, "This guy is like a qualified person. You're doing a job as a cleaner. You're throwing newspapers. What are you doing?" But I don't care. I didn't care about them, because by that time I had this agreement with my subconscious, that I had this clarity that I wanted to achieve a goal, and I'll do whatever it takes to achieve that goal. And whether I have to throw newspapers, whether I have to sell newspapers, whether I have to pick up the garbage, it doesn't matter, because I was passionate about something, and I would do anything that it takes to achieve it. And when you are passionate about something, and passion is like love, if you love someone, if you have loved someone truly, and I have loved someone truly, so then you don't care about eating, you don't care about sleeping. So once you are passionate about something, you don't care about eating, you don't care about sleeping, you don't care about what other people are saying. And that's when you are able to utilize your subconscious mind and actually convince your subconscious mind that you will be able to achieve what you are trying to achieve, or at least you will be happy in trying. And it's not about the final outcome. It's not about the final destination. You should be able to enjoy the journey that you are taking through. So for example, if you think that I'll be happy if I get $1 million, I'll be happy if I'll get a company, then you will be miserable and sad and depressed when you are following that journey. What you have to do is you have to ensure that you are actually enjoying that journey. And if you are following your passion, if you love someone, that you will be able to do that. For example, if you love someone, you're chasing that person, right? You're trying to convince that person. You're trying to convince their parents or whatever it is. If you have experienced this in life, or ask your friends who have experienced this, they enjoy each and every second of it. They say, even if your heart is broken, you still cherish that moment. Similarly, the passion, the feeling of being passionate about something is like this as well. You enjoy each and every step of it. And for that, you have to repeat those affirmations verbally, in written, and you have to listen to those affirmations. Now, what I'm going to tell you is the most important thing, which is taking a sudden action. And this has the biggest influence in your subconscious. So you actually have to prove that your subconscious might be wrong. So what I did with AMU Live was I took a sudden action. What I did with Honda Cars when I resigned was I took a sudden action. When I established my business in Australia, and I was not sure whether I'm going to fail or not, I took a sudden action. And what that taking that sudden action does is it shakes your subconscious. The problem is right now we think a lot about things. We say, I want to do this, but I don't know how to do this. I don't care if you don't know how to do this, because the only way to learn how to do something is to actually try that thing. And the worst that would happen is that you are going to fail. Of course, if you are doing something life risky, if you are going to jump from a building or whatever, of course, you have to take the training. But if you have to learn to play cricket, if you have to learn entrepreneurship, if you have to learn to sing, you have to actually go out and start doing it, right? For example, if you have a goal, and you want to throw an arrow towards that goal, now you can read all the books in the world about it, and you can tell your subconscious every day, oh, I am a very good archer and I would be able to hit my target every single day. It won't have any effect on your subconscious, because what you have to do is you have to take that sudden action and make a hit. What would happen is you might miss, but at least you will convey to your subconscious that at least I was able to take that first step. I was able to take that step. I was able to take that action, and that will shake the whole belief system. So instead of thinking about AMU Live and creating that social network, I took the action, I plunged into it, and I was able to achieve it. You might fail in some, but you might win some as well. But if you don't give it a try, you are going to lose all of them. When I say I've got 3 successful businesses, or I've invested in 8 technology starts, whatever, it doesn't mean that I was successful in each and every term. I failed in a lot of things, but I was able to get 3 successful businesses. If I would have tried a single one, if I would have given it up in the first go or second go, then I would not have been able to succeed. And if you out there, if you are listening to me right now, when you were a child, when you tried to stand up and when you fell down, if you would have given up at that point of time, then you would have never been able to stand on your feet. And any of you know who actually knows cycling, I'm pretty sure that you would have fallen down on your cycle once in your life. If you would have given up, you would have never been able to succeed. Then why are we so afraid of being failures in our life? Why are we so afraid about failing in our career? Why are we so afraid about taking those steps? It's very simple. Your subconscious is trying to grope. Your subconscious is afraid. What you have to do is you have to convince your subconscious and tell them that's okay. That's okay to fail. It's okay to fall. Because, it doesn't matter if you fall, if you fail, don't worry about the people. Stop listening to these people. There are these people who would actually tell you you can't do this or you can't do that. And what about this? What about that? What if your idea fails? What if you are not able to succeed in your career, and so many things? And if you start listening to them, you won't be able to achieve anything in your life. So what you have to do is you have to keep finger in your eyes, because those people are just instilling their own fears on you. They do not have their thoughts of their own. They don't have their own life figured out. That's why they are telling you that you can't do it. Go and ask any successful person out there, and he will tell you that if you want something, and if you try it enough with the passion, with persistence and determination, you would be able to achieve it. There's nothing that could stop you. Of course, you won't be able to succeed in the first time, because that's not the way the learning curve works. You will try, you will fail, you will try again, you will fail, but you will become better, you will become better, you will try again, and you will fail, but until finally you will be able to succeed. So these people that are out there who are telling you that you can't do it, and your subconscious telling you can't do it, you actually have to talk to your subconscious. Don't talk to the people, don't care about them. They said you can't do it, thank you so much, take care, bye bye. Listen. Like, for example, what happens with the parents is, parents would tell you you can't do it, and so on. I would never argue with my parents. I would never argue with my teachers as well. I'd say, yeah, that's good, thank you. But I will tell them, yeah, that's fine. For example, I'll tell my parents politely, what you are saying is right, but let me give it a try. Because there's no point in going to argument, because it's very difficult to sometimes convince everyone, right? There are some people in your life that are important to convince. For example, I had to convince my fiancée, who's now my wife, that this is very important for me. Why is this important for me? And she was nice enough to understand. But it's not important for everyone out there to understand what you are doing is right. So you have to have conversations with important people, but then you have to have these conversations with your subconscious mind and tell them, let me give it a try, and take that first action. And the very first action that I encourage all of you to take is to actually announce to the world that you are going to do this, and not, rather than saying that I want to be doing this, actually tell them that this is what I'm born to be. Because when you are telling everyone and you are saying it out loud, you are telling it to your subconscious. Now, as I said in the beginning of this presentation, there would be a lot of people who would not get any benefit out of it, and for them it would be just infotainment, like the way they watch YouTube, like the way they will watch Big Boss. They would watch this webinar and go away. But I am giving you this once in a lifetime opportunity to take an action. I have designed this exercise and challenge for you, and I want you to take this action right now, straight away. This is a very simple challenge. What I am asking you to do is to put yourself out and think about what is that thing that you want to do with your life. What is your goal? Do you want to be an entrepreneur? Do you want to be a doctor, an engineer, like a successful, a CEO, a managing director, whatever you want? You want $1 million, you want to be the president, whatever it is. You actually have to put that out. You have to write that. And the place to write that is, if you go to Instagram right now, open up the Instagrams on your phone, find me over there, go to Aamir Qutub. The very first post that you will find over there would be this Born to Succeed challenge. What I want you to do over there is go there, and in the comment section, write, I am born to be a, and if you're an entrepreneur, I'm born to be a successful entrepreneur. I'm born to be a successful businessman. I want to be born to be a successful singer, successful social activist, successful politician, doesn't matter. But rather than saying I want to be a, you have to say I am born to be a this, and I will do whatever it takes to achieve it. And then nominate 3 of your friends, because it's not just about putting it out there and no one sees it. You actually have to challenge yourself, and you have to nominate 3 of your friends to actually in this challenge, because this will tell your subconscious that you do it. If you don't do it now, you are telling your subconscious, no matter what you tell to yourself, you are telling your subconscious that you are so afraid You don't have the courage. If you don't have the courage to write what you want to be, if you don't have the courage to tell people what you are going to be, you don't have the courage to actually pursue it, and you would never be able to go ahead with it. So as I said, and anyone who's going to comment, I'll send them a free book on reprogramming your subconscious mind. As I said, it's pretty simple. Go to Aamir Instagram, find me over there, Aamir Qutub. This is the challenge. Are you ready for your first step towards success? All you have to do is in the comment section. Oh, there are some people who have already left the comment. That's great. So I'm born to be, all you have to do is go there, write, I'm born to be, and for example, he's an entrepreneur, and I'll do whatever it takes to achieve it. I nominate 3 friends of yours for this challenge. And this sounds like a small thing, but it's the most impactful thing that you can do today. This is the most impactful action that you can take, because if you are able to take this action in your life, then you are telling your subconscious mind that that's enough. I've had enough of everyone telling me, excuse my language, bullshit. I had enough of everyone telling me bullshit about you can't do this or whatever, because I am born to be this. So if I actually have to write, I will write, I am born to be an entrepreneur. And I will do whatever it takes to achieve it. And I'll tag my friends, I'll post it. And if you are taking that action, then you are telling to the world, but most importantly, your subconscious mind, that you are ready for it. And from there, you would be able to succeed it. So I'm waiting for you to do it right now as we speak, and I'll jump back on my presentation and complete my story. So what happened was, when I did this cleaning job, I got some money. Then I wanted to start my business, and with a credit card, I opened a small office in my brother-in-law's garage, a small garage, because I couldn't afford an office. And I started reaching out to businesses. I said, I want to achieve this thing in life. Like I want to.
Sir, you are muted. We can't able to hear you.
Sorry, can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Oh, sorry about that. Okay. All right. So, did you hear about? Okay. So, I was telling about my journey itself. So, when I tried to establish my business, I asked my brother-in-law if he could lend me his garage, because I couldn't afford an office. And I started my office from his garage, and I used to reach out to business and tell them, please allow me to implement data solution in your business. And I am happy to do it for free, but businesses did not allow me to do so. And I was approaching businesses because I was new to that country. I was pretty young. I had no business experience. I didn't have a proper work visa at that point of time. Like, I had work visa, but I was not permanent resident of Australia or whatever. I was a temporary resident. And I kept on reaching out to businesses, but I kept on getting failures after failures after failure, rejections after rejections. But I was so passionate about it. I was so mad about it that I actually went to the limits of, I used to go to the railway stations, the bus stands, to the different marketplaces with my business cards, and I just used to ask them, do you belong to a business? And just used to give them my business card, and used to pitch them. And after 3 months of sort of constant trying and everything, I finally found one person who I was traveling with in my bus, and I told him about my business. He said, look, I'm happy to have you on board, but I won't pay you anything. I said, that's all right. That's all I need. And when I got that opportunity, I literally spent 3 weeks in his office. I said, I don't want to go. I'll just eat over here. I used to sleep on the couch itself. I designed a system for him in 3 weeks that actually saved him $6,000 per month. He did not only paid me for it, he actually provided me with some of the reference, and that's how I established my business. But it didn't happen like that. As soon as I established my business, the struggles got over. The struggles just started. I had issues with the invoices. I had issues with the cash flows. There was a time in my business when I was not able to pay my suppliers. My invoices were delayed. My customers were not happy. My salaries were delayed as well, and I was in a huge debt as well. So I actually was debted around, the debt was around $2 lakh, which is your around 1 crore rupees or whatever. So I was in a huge debt, and I used to think, what, whether entrepreneurship is right for me or not as well. But and there was a stage in my life when, for me to, I actually had to go to the client, but I didn't have money to put fuel in my car. So I used to look for the coins, in my room somewhere. I used to find coins and I used to fill the petrol and go to the client. But then again, because I was following my passion, I had this agreement with my subconscious mind that that's fine. These are the failures and setbacks, but these are the part of the learning process. I won't be discouraged by them. I won't be disheartened by them. And I'll just keep on trying. So I kept on trying. I improved my business. And now we are sitting at a multi-million dollars worth of business, and sort of multinational businesses with sort of office in different countries. Why was I able to do all of that? Because I had a very clear belief that I will be able to achieve whatever I want to do with my life. It might take some time, might take some failures, but I'll be persistent and determined in whatever I do. And that is the key to success. So I'll probably open up the floor for the questions now. I think depends on how the moderators want to run the question. If they want to run it via chat, happy to do that. If they want to run it via comments, happy to do that as well.
Sir, I have one question. I'm audible?
Sure. Yes.
Yeah. So first of all, I would like to thank you for giving us this opportunity and on this platform, Digital Investor. I would like to represent myself as I'm the founder of the Biome organization, and right now currently my team is watching you. Right now I have give them the invitation to all. So I just my question is that you have said that there are a lot of poor peoples who live in slums areas. So they didn't think about anything like achieving something big, right, in their life. Always there is a person who is from the middle class or who is rich, and they have a lot of successful stories they shared with the peoples that they have reprogrammed their subconscious mind, and they have they have a single thought to do something in their life. Okay, so I just want to ask you ki, lot of peoples from the poor and the slum areas, they didn't get the opportunity, right? The children's, if we talk about the children's, poor children's, they didn't get any education, they didn't get any syllabus, they didn't get the learning, any knowledge, and even they didn't have anything to eat, to feed themselves, right? So how the successful peoples keep saying that again and again. If we talk about Ola, Oyo, Paytms, and a lot of founders as well, they are the big, like the Byju's and Vedantu. So they keep saying that if you reprogram your subconscious mind, if you do this, if you do this, if you do this, you will gonna be successful. I do agree. I have heard about a lot of stories as well. Even I have applied this into my life as well, that the subconscious mind works, always work. If you think, if you act, then you will receive, definitely. But what about the poor peoples? Because they didn't get the opportunity before, and they will not get the opportunity after. That's the truth, sir. So what do you say about that?
Okay, so it's a very good observation. The very first thing is, I actually read a book by Malcolm Gladwell. It's called The Outliers, where he talks about why there were specific people like Bill Gates and Steve Jobs who were successful. And he talks about that it's not just the talent, but it's also your environment and surroundings that decide your success. First of all, I've got a very different perspective of success. For me, success is not about comparing yourself to others. It's about where you started and where you reached in your journey. So for example, when I look at my father, my grandfather was a very small clerk. My father didn't have even money to, like, they 50 paisa, like athanni they say in Hindi. They needed to actually get admission in English medium, but my father couldn't get it. So he studied in Hindi medium, but did his engineering, got a government job, and somehow reached to a position where he was able to give us good education. So for me, I think his success is being sort of like much bigger than mine success, because his journey from where he started to where he is huge. So first of all, it's not about where are you in comparison to others. It's about where you started and where you are in your journey. The second thing is that, of course, the people who are poor are at disadvantage. Of course, for example, the star kids of these star families and celebrities are at the highest advantage. They have got all the right things and everything. So like Raja ka beta Raja and politician ka beta politician and actor ka beta actor, it's there, it's the reality in the world. But we cannot just look at those and think there's been an injustice to us, and we cannot just sort of not try, because there are a lot of stories of the people who come from extremely poor background who have done it well, especially with the abundance of social media. So people like the rappers that you saw in Gully Boy, like they are inspired from the actual stories of people who are coming from the Dharavi slums and things like that. So people who have actually achieved a lot. So first of all, this social media is actually defeating those barriers. Even if you see TikTok, we could see a lot of talent emerging out of there as well. So this social media is actually removing those barriers, and that's why I do a lot of even talks in Hindi and try to reach out to everyone who is listening to me and tell them that you can do it. Of course, the difficulty level would be extremely difficult, and thus reprogramming that needs to be done for them would be difficult as well. But it is still possible for them to achieve what they think. They just have to sort of work an extra yard to achieve that as well. But for example, if a person from a very poor family sort of rose up and became at a position where he is able to support his family properly, I see that he's more successful than someone like me who sort of came from a middle class family and now sort of at a much better position, because he has sort of like done much more struggle than me, and he's achieved more in life as well. So definitely agree with your comment. But I think a lot of people reprogram their mind subconsciously as well by just taking those actions. So for example, a boy from Dharavi would always have believed that he couldn't do anything. But then when he would have sang his song and would have been published on YouTube, and he would have seen the views, or someone with TikTok views, that's when he would have talked to his subconscious automatically and said, like, लोग तो बोलते थे अपन कुछ नहीं कर सकता, लेकिन मैं कुछ कर सकता है. Or this is the proof that I'm able to achieve something. So just by taking small action, they are able to sort of come out of that and reprogram their subconscious mind.
Definitely, sir. I do agree with your answer. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so much. Thanks a lot, Siddharth. Do we have any other questions?
Sir, I just want to say you something from my
Sure.
side. Actually, I have on my team 85 plus people who are working on this startup. I'm audible?
Yes, you are, absolutely.
Okay. So we are going to provide the free of cost education to every needy children or the needy parents also who didn't get the opportunity before in their life. So definitely we are working on that. So I just want to ask you, and it would be my honor to represent you as well in my webinar and seminar, and that would be offline, in which we are conducting with the thousands of children in Delhi or in Noida, somewhere else. So I just want to ask you, will you be able to do that? Because Gaurang and me are a good friend, and I'm also the co-founder and the digital investor as well. So we are working on the two different startups, but we have a same purpose to train the child, to train the people, and to shape the future of every child. So this would be my, honor to
Absolutely.
represent you as well.
Absolutely. More than happy to help. Please get in touch with me. I think you would have my details, but you can connect with me on Instagram and LinkedIn.
Sure,
And
sir.
I would be more than happy to get like help in any way I can.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much.
You are most welcome. If you got anyone, they can lift their hand, or I can or just ask the question in the comment section itself.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Sir, if I am not wrong, I have heard at the starting time, you said that you mostly wants to invest within multinationals company. So, sir, why don't you try for India too?
Okay, absolutely. So I actually invest in technology startups mostly. So I've established companies which are now multinational, but mainly I've been investing in Australia technology startups specifically because I had much better understanding of this area itself. But now I'm looking to actually invest in some of the Indian startups as well. But
As you are an Indian, sir, as you are an Indian, so why don't you come to invest in India?
No, I'm actually looking to invest in India now as well, and I'm sort of looking to actually, sort of support even Indian startups and again provide as much mentorship and as much help I can provide. Because again, I'm a small investor. I'm an angel investor. I might be able to invest in two, three more startups, and then my funds would freeze for another 2 to 3 years once until I get sort of more funds or I get an exit from another startup. But what I can also bring to the table is I can bring more of my investors that I invested over here. And I've actually asked them to, as soon as the COVID is over, I've asked them, invited them over to come with me to India and sort of even sort of meet with some of the startups and look at the Indian startup ecosystem over there as well. I'm actually in touch with Mumbai Angels as well, and just sort of making a collaboration of them with Melbourne Angels as well. So yes, I think it's a great suggestion, and yes, I should be looking more towards Indian startups. Sorry, I didn't get your name.
Yes, sir. My name is Preeti Mishra.
Okay, nice to meet you, Preeti. Are you involved in startups as well?
Best time to come and invest in India, sir, because due to this pandemic, as we know that the economy rate of our country has declined. So when we attract, sir, foreign direct investor, then it will be good for us too, and them they also too. And sir, it will also help in generating employment in India too.
Absolutely. No, you are right. And I think I would put more efforts towards sort of bring more investors to invest in India as well. So I'm looking to invest personally as well, but I'll definitely invite more investors on board as well.
Okay, sir. I would like to be a part of your company too.
Oh, absolutely, definitely. Just make sure that you are connect with me on Instagram because I'm most active on Instagram, and would be more than happy to chat offline further about it.
Okay, sir.
We have got some more hands up in the air. Have we? अच्छा, किसी को हिंदी में भी सवाल पूछना है, हिंदी में बात करनी है तो हम हिंदी में भी बात कर सकते हैं. मुझे एक्चुअली पूछ लेना चाहिए था शुरू में कि हिंदी या इंग्लिश, बट आई थॉट देयर आर लॉट ऑफ पीपल हु एक्चुअली कम फ्रॉम साउथ इंडिया एज वेल who don't know Hindi. Sometimes we neglect them. So that's why I like to speak in English because we are more inclusive when we are speaking in English. But more than happy to talk to you in Hindi. मुझे हिंदी ही आती है, बाकी ज़्यादा नहीं आती. थोड़ी पंजाबी थोड़ी बहुत समझ में आ जाती है.
Yeah. There is no restriction on language up to class 5th.
Absolutely, that's right.
Nivedita, you want to
Yes.
ask something? You can ask right now.
Yes. Hi, Aamir.
Hi, Nivedita.
Earlier you said that you are working in different technologies. So can you please explain the technologies?
Sure, absolutely. So my enterprise monkey actually started with very, very simple web and app development, but now we have moved into augmented reality, virtual reality, and Internet of Things. So we are sort of working with government to implement smart parking sensors, smart lights, smart sensors. As well, we are working with some manufacturing organization to implement smart technologies, even with sports technologies. We are working on a project. We are looking to implement smart sensors in cricket bat as well to sort of measure the accuracy and things like that. So we are getting huge in the Internet of Things space as well. Some of the startups that I have invested in, one is in education and technology. That's a startup which focuses mainly on helping students write thesis properly. One of them is marketplaces, which connects the childcare industry with the providers itself. One of them is working with Australian taxation office, and so automating the systems of the taxation office and automating the work for accountants. So it's similar to like Indian taxation office. So we have got an Australian taxation office. So the way the accountants are interacting with Australian taxation office, so we are actually automating some part of that as well. So the startups that I like to invest in mainly are the ones that are actually solving the problem of a specific industry. There are some startups that I invested in that are like marketplaces or sort of attracting huge ones, but I do not invest in games because I don't understand the gaming industry very well. I like to invest in the startups where we are actually looking at implication of technology in an industry. For example, sports technology, extremely passionate about health technology, extremely passionate about governance technology is something that I'm passionate about as well.
Okay, thank you.
You're most welcome.
Hello, sir. Good evening.
Good evening.
Sir, what is your take on the social entrepreneurship?
Well, I'm actually involved in social entrepreneurship. So what happened was recently when the coronavirus hit, I thought, there are a lot of social care workers who are doing great things. What can I do for the society? The challenge over here in Australia was that people live in such an isolation that neighbors don't know the neighbors, like similar to like what's happening in India nowadays in large metropolitan cities. So that was what was happening with Australia as well. So I thought, why don't we create an app that allows especially senior citizens who cannot get out of home due to isolation to seek help from each other. So for example, if you need grocery, if you need medicine, if you are out of something, you just put it out in the app, and then the people in their vicinity or would get a notification. They will send a help request, and the person would accept the help request, and then they will drop the grocery at the door and medicine at the door and so on. And we developed it, we launched it in actually 2 weeks. It was such a huge success. We got coverage in national medias and everything. If you search Angel Next Door Australia, you will find the coverage in all the national newspapers. We were endorsed by the government itself. So my chief minister, the Victorian chief minister or premier Daniel Andrews, he actually called up and congratulated us as well on this achievement as well. It was actually a huge success, and we didn't get any money out of it. But what we are now working to do is we are looking to make it more commercial, because we invested a lot of our money into it. We are making it so that it's like resource neutral, which means we don't earn anything much out of it, but we are at least sustaining it through the income that we are getting. The second startup that I have invested in is called Clan. And this is basically the one that's actually connecting the child care provider industry and disability industry with the people. And that's again a social venture that actually makes a lot of money as well. So that's helping people while making the money as well. So I believe social entrepreneurship is one of the most satisfying things that you could do with your life. But even when I'm investing in a social venture, I would always look for the sustainability. So being a social entrepreneurial venture doesn't mean that you do not have the revenue. It means is that it's not purely for profit. There is a social angle towards it. So if you can actually make money while doing something good for someone, I think it's the best form of entrepreneurship that you could be in, because it's really satisfying.
And sir, what are the mistakes made by startups, the newly founded startups?
Well, one of the biggest mistake that I see a lot of startups make is that they think about the product and they then invest a lot of money in developing that product or energy in developing that product. You have to always start by developing a minimum viable product. A lot of people would understand what I'm saying, but for those who don't understand, a minimum viable product is the very, very basic version of what you want to build. So whenever you think of a concept, fill up a business model canvas. You can find it on my website, aamirqutub.com, download it from here. Fill up the business model canvas, that's one page canvas. Answer the 5 questions. What problem are you solving? Who are your customers? Who are your competitors? How are you better than your competitors? And how are you going to make money? and then develop a minimum viable product, something very simple of what you are thinking of building. So for example, if you are thinking of building a full-fledged marketplace, rather than doing it, create a very simple Google form or create a WhatsApp group, whatever, to start it and test your concept with the market, because you might think that what you are thinking would work, but it never does. So lean startup methodology, which is being followed by all the successful startups that are out there in the world, it says that you have to first develop a basic minimum viable product, put it on in the market, learn from the feedback, and then develop it with the customers. So most of the founders are so engrossed in the product that they don't develop it with the customers. They develop it themselves, invest a lot of money, and then put it out to the customers. Whereas the way I like to build startups, I built my company, I have sort of built my startups as well, is that I start by launching a basic minimum viable product, put it out in the market, and then see what the customer's feedback is, and then take their feedback on board and learn from their feedback. This process is called pivoting, and most of the successful startups have actually done pivoting as well. So Uber, the way it started, is pretty different from what it is at the moment, because they learned from the market requirements and then they pivoted from their business model. So that's why I see 98% of businesses failing, because they don't listen to their customers. They don't take the feedback from their market. They just think of something and think it's a great idea, and they just go and build it. So whenever a startup approaches my organization and they want to build an app or they want an investment or whatever, I tell them, before putting all of this energy into it, go and test your minimum viable product, test your concept, learn from the feedback, and then develop it from there. Does that answer the question?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you.
No worries.
Sir, so I'm a co-founder of a startup named Innovadia. It's only few months old, and what the problem we are facing now is we are like a yourstory.com. We are working in the same model just like yourstory.com, where we are showcasing some of the entrepreneurs from the rural India and some of the unique stories. So what problem we are facing right now is gathering audience, and it's very tough for us. Well, I'm just 19 years old, for reference, and everyone working in our team is of the same age, and sometimes they feel like what we are doing is not correct. We are too early, we have come too early, and we will not survive in the market. So what is your take on this?
Okay, so the very first thing that I would like to tell you is that we have to create something called, which is we call user persona canvas. In simplest form, we have to know who our ideal customers are. So who are they? What is their age segment? Where are they? Where can we find them? And how are we actually going to target those people? What are their needs? What are their fears? What are their challenges? The best way to do that is actually reach out to your real users. Even if you have 5 users or 10 users who liked your concept, reach out to them and interview them, like just do one-on-one with them and sort of ask them, what did you like about our content? Why would you view our content in exchange of others? And that will give you an idea of whether what you are thinking is something that's relevant for them or not. So again, what we are doing over here is that you have thought that this is something that will work, and this has worked for someone else, so it might work for us, and you have just gone into it, right? It
Yes,
might
sir.
work and it might not work as well, because for example, Airbnb went to 7 investors and 7 investors said no, it won't work, so they did not invest in it, and the 8th investor invested. So I can't tell you whether it's going to work or not. But one of the challenges for me, first of all, is how are you different from your competitors? That's a big question mark for me. And to find that answer, you actually have to reach out to your users and tell them, ask them, why would they prefer to watch your content like apart from others? And probably one
Yep.
of the questions that I would like to ask you is, how are you going to make money? What is your business model that you are thinking over here?
So it's a social entrepreneurship basically. We are not thinking about profit. We are thinking Innovidia as a content provider, as a knowledge provider. In future, we may get into providing courses related
Absolutely.
to related to any field, from digital marketing to anything, Internet of Things and all that. And we are thinking that after gaining a good network in the industry, we would
Yep.
like to help the entrepreneurs to uh, get the initial workforce for them and get the initial investment for them. And
Sure.
we don't want anything, we just want to uh, get our skills brush up. That's it.
That's great. But what I would say is that even if you don't need money for yourself, but the
Yep.
thing is to compete in the market, you actually need money to promote.
Yep.
You need some source of revenue.
Yep.
So have you filled a business model canvas before?
No, sir.
So this is a business model canvas. You can actually find it on my website. It's available for free. But what this business model canvas is it's basically a one-page thing. I'll actually show you on my Canva. So business model canvas is a one-page plan that I would encourage you to fill, and that will actually allow you to evaluate how are you going to perform, and then test it in the market and see if your startup is going to stick or not as well. Because the biggest pitfall that I see in your startup, and look, I don't want to sugarcoat things for you, right? You are looking for a genuine advice from me, so
Yep.
I'll give you a genuine advice. The thing is that unless and until you have a very clear, I'll I'll, I'll just do a quick refresher of a different webinar that I did with some other people. Uh, unless you have a clarity on, first of all, who are your competitors. It's good that you know who your competitors are, but how are you better than your competitors? Unless you have a clarity on that, then there is a challenge. So you need to identify how are you different from your competitors, and what is that thing that you are able to offer that your competitors are not able to offer. That's one thing. The second thing is, what is your business model? This is something that you have to work upon. And rather than me telling you that your startup is going to work or not, or whether it's going to work or not, this thing would actually tell you whether your concept is going to work or not. Secondly, once you also important to identify who are your customers as well. Have you thought about who are going to be your users?
Basically, management students or commerce students, engineering students who really want to do MBA and all that, want to go in entrepreneurship. They are
Okay.
our audience.
All right. So I think my battery. Okay. So the thing is with that, what I would say is that right now your target audience is pretty huge. What you have to do is you have to narrow down your target audience. You need to think about just let me change my camera. So you need to think about uh, a smaller, narrower audience, because you just told me that you are bringing the entrepreneurs from, or the speakers or content from the third tier or second tier cities, right?
Yes, sir.
So your target audience are not the people who are coming from larger cities. Your student audience is the users from those cities. So what you have to do is talk to some of those students and ask what are their challenges and what are their problems, and then how can you serve the content in a better format than what your story or others are doing. For example, I was invited to a Josh talk. What they do is they all talk about Josh, and Josh talk actually encouraged me to just talk something which is motivational. But talking about something that's motivational does not solve the purpose. You have to teach them some more things. So Josh talk is doing that thing. TED talk is about sharing the ideas. Maybe your story is about something. What you could do is you could bring a new angle into it. You could either actually have like a one-on-one session where you are asking them the question that the students really want to ask, and that's how you might be able to differentiate. For example, if you reach out to your audience and say, even there are like a smaller audience, and say, what are your questions that you would like an entrepreneur to answer, or someone who's in your field to answer, and gather those questions. And secondly, whether even they want to listen to entrepreneurs or they want to listen to the professionals in their field as well. So once you reach out to them and ask them, with there's so much content out there, what is that content that you want, then they will be able to tell you, okay, this is my problem. For example, if I'm someone from a regional area, first of all, my challenges are that campus placement companies don't come to my college because they go to colleges in Delhi and Mumbai. The second thing is that I've never been in these sort of larger cities, so I do not have, like, the biggest challenge that I see in third tier cities is the soft skills. So there's a huge challenge over there as well. So these people have a lack of exposure. So they will tell you these problems. Now, what you have to do is you have to customize your content and your offering according to their solution. The challenge comes in is that when we think of the solution first and then think of the problem, what you have to do is you always start with the problem. What is the people's problem or need that I'm trying to solve, and then move on to actually developing a solution for them. And that is a short way of succeeding in something like this.
Thank you so much, sir.
You're most welcome. I think we are over time, so we'll probably just take one more question if someone has, and then, it's actually 1 a.m. in Australia at the moment.
Yeah, Aamir, I have one question. Siddharth.
Sure. Yeah, hi Siddharth.
Yeah, hi. So I want to ask you, investors always look for the profit, or is there anything else, they want to make money from? If we have to approach to the investors, so they will see a profit in our business, or they will just invest money in our startup?
Okay, so they will, an ideal investor would never ask you for the money itself. An ideal investor would always ask for the equity in your startup, which means that like, if I'm investing in a startup, I'm looking for an exit strategy in the startup, in terms of, I will only make money once your startup exit, which means it is bought by another company, or it is being gone into an IPO, which is initial public offering, which means it is going public on NASDAQ or Bombay Stock Exchange or whatever stock exchange it is. That's the only way for investor to recoup money. So if an investor is actually asking you for the profit from the business, then he's a fraud investor, first of all, because no angel investor does this. An angel investor is actually looking for the exit strategy. And for example, if I invest in 10 startups, I assume that 8 startups would fail. So I would not get any money back out of those 8 startups. I'll get money back from 2 startups. But the startups that I'm investing in are the only ones where I know that these startups have the potential to increase their valuation by 20 times or 30 times, which means if the valuation of the startup was 1 million at the moment, then when it will be sold, it will be at least 20 million or 30 million or 40 million or so on. If I don't see that level of potential in the startup, I won't invest in a startup.
Okay.
So even if your startup is at a very basic stage, or even if it's making some money, they are looking for that scalability and growth in any startup, how quickly it can scale and be sold.
Okay.
Yeah.
So according to you, what do you suggest? Should we approach to the venture capital investors or the angel investors, or there are a lot of different kinds of investors in the market? So
Okay.
what do you suggest? Because there is a difference between them, right?
Yes. I'm now thinking that I should have actually done this webinar, which is about startups, but probably we would do it at a later stage. There are different stages of funding. The very first funding is seed capital, which is where you put your own money, your family's money, friends' money. They say friend, families, and fools, like people who invest the money in the very beginning. That's your seed capital. The next step is actually angel investor funding. Angel investor funding happens when you do not have an MVP, or you have an MVP and you are just starting out, or you have just started to make money. That's when you seek money from angel investors. They would invest between like $30,000, which is what, 1.5, 15 lakh? Yep, 15 lakh rupees, so $30,000 to $500,000, like $500,000. But I don't see angel investors investing a lot on this. For example, my investment is generally around $50,000, but some of the bigger angel investors, they would invest up to $100 or $2,100, which means up to your less than 1 crore or whatever. What happens is that venture capitalists are looking for startups that are at a more established stage. And to reach that particular stage, you actually need that angel investor funding. But venture capitalists are investing at a much higher range, but they are investing in much established ventures as well. So they are investing around sort of like from $1 million to $10 million, something around that. So, but they invest in startups that are already sort of more mature. Once you cross that, then you sort of look at mezzanine financing and bridge loans. To be honest, I have a very basic idea about mezzanine financing and bridge loans, because I've actually sold one of the startups and we didn't went through this stage, mezzanine funding, because we just exited out after the venture capital funding. And then the next step is actually initial public offering, so IPO, or you sell your business to startup to someone else. So these are the 5 stages of your funding.
Okay, thank you so much, Aamir. Does anybody have a question, guys? You can ask. From the Gorang side, I'm representing this organization.
Hello.
Yeah, Gorang.
Amir, I'm having one question related to these things. As you said, some venture investors should first of all see the exit strategy. Okay. So if they are investing in a company who is becoming 20 or 30 times bigger, suppose if you have invested 10 years ago in Byju's, or if I can say Paytm or Oyo, so they've not sold their business. So how will you look into that exit strategy with them?
So Paytm has got Paytm has, I think, formed a partnership with another company at the moment. So which means they would have sold some of their shares and the initial investors would have got some money out of it as well. But for someone like Paytm, they would have a clear exit strategy from the very beginning, because they know that there are bigger players in the market who would actually go. But Paytm or Oyo has the potential to be listed as an initial public offering. So as I said, there are 2 main exit strategy. Either you sell your business partially, which is your joint ventures, or you sell your business fully to someone. Like WhatsApp was sold to Facebook, Instagram was sold to Facebook as well. Or you go to initial public offering, which is IPOs. That's when you actually get your money back out of your investments. In some cases, your investment is worth so much that people are ready to buy your shares as well. So for example, if I had invested, say, if I had 5% share in Paytm, then someone might come in and say, okay, your shares are worth this much, but I know this company is going to grow. How about you sell these shares to me? So I would be able to sell my shares at a huge profit as well. But even if like a company like Paytm would come to me when in the beginning, then I would actually ask them, what is your exit strategy? Exit strategy or anything in the startup world, these are all hypotheses. So the people are just coming up with their thoughts, but we need to know that startups have at least thought about it, and there is a potential that someone would either buy it or it can go to an initial public offering, and they have thought about it. For example, if a founder comes to me and say that I do not have an exit strategy and I want to keep on running this business for a long time, then it's a big question mark for me as an investor. Because, for example, if I invested 1 crore into 10 startups, 10 lakhs each, then I need to see a return on that 1 crore in 5 to 6 years. And then I want to invest that money again in other startups. Otherwise, it's just a dead money to me, and I might sort of just keep on waiting for the money, and the money might not come back. That's why this exit strategy is pretty important for us as an investor. Excellent. If you want to connect with me, you can connect with me on LinkedIn, Instagram, or YouTube. And I'm sort of pretty active on Instagram and LinkedIn both. So I'm happy to, even like, if any queries, feel free to send me a message. More than happy to answer them as well. I think that's probably about it. I have to get going as well.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you so much, Data Investor team.
Thank you so much, sir.
All right, guys, I'll leave my. I think that's probably it. All right, thank you so much, guys. Once again, it was very lovely talking to you. Thanks once again, Data Investor team. It was great talking to you as well. And
Sure,
thanks a
sir.
lot, Siddharth, for
Thank you, sir.
hosting the session.
Yeah, sure, sir. Thank you so
All
much, sir.
right, take
Thank
care,
you so much, sir.
everyone.